few minutes away from another $1,000. Chance for you to go fund yourself. And then I'll talk to actor Alan Cumming on Zoom. He's got a book called Baggage that is out, and he's been making the rounds on that. But he does a lot of good work. Cavaliers in Boston tonight to play the Celtics. That's a 7:30 tip here on MMS. So 7 o'clock is when Cavaliers Live will begin. You can also listen on the iHeartRadio app. Both teams right now are 3-1. And then they come back home to play the Knicks on Sunday at the Romo Fihel. Of course, the Browns playing Monday Night Football. I'll be set up at the Ivy on Monday. We start at 5:45, so I cut this dog and pony show short a little bit and then scoot on down to the Ivy. 5:45 is when we start there. You can get yourself to the Bahamas, courtesy of Bud Light. If you've never joined us, you're going to find us at the Ivy, which is West 6 and Lakeside, right downtown. We do it before all the Browns home games, whether they are on a Monday night or not. Somebody sent me the 2022 SEC all-name team. I'm only into sports primarily for the good names. And the all-name team, I think people have heard of Kool-Aid McKinstry at this point. I like it, though, when it's their name. Kool-Aid is his nickname. So I'm kind of splitting hairs, but I like it when they have a goofy name. Sellers Shy at Old Miss. Bumper Pool. That's a good name. Danico Slaughter at Texas. Tank Bigsby at Auburn, my dad's alma mater. War Eagle. Chief Borders, Tay Crumbs at University of Kentucky. Moose Muhammad at Texas A&M. Major Burns, Mookie Cooper. Hot Rod Fitton for the Razorbacks. Who is that, Arkansas? Who are the Razorbacks?
Arizona?
Arkansas, yeah.
I think it's Arkansas.
Fayetteville. That's where I was in June.
Oh, right, the NWA.
Yeah. NWA, yeah.
And then Gunnar Hansen, who was clearly named after the actor that played Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So thank you to whoever sent me that. I don't follow a lot of sports accounts on social media, so I would have missed that had you not sent it to me. So thank you. Also, LeBron making a point that he is no longer a Dallas Cowboys fan. See if you can follow the logic here. He has now pledged his allegiance to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh.
Not enough sexual predators on the Cowboys for him.
Well, that's all. I was like, try to follow the logic here because LeBron said, I just couldn't stay with the Cowboys after Jerry Jones made it mandatory for players to stand for the national anthem.
Yeah, everybody's got their
lines
in the sand, you know?
Yeah. I figured I'd throw in with the Browns. They're not doing. I wonder if anybody's told him. He's got his own problems to deal with. Maybe he hasn't kept an ear to the ground. I think I'm going to root for the Browns now. They haven't done anything wrong recently, have they? They're doing okay. He says he's all in on, listen, you understand why he was a Cowboys fan for so long. He is, after all, just a kid from Tyler.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? No,
well, he was always kind of a front runner dude. So he's a Cowboys fan. He's a Yankees fan. And then
but I didn't think the Cowboys were like the hot marquee team anymore.
But they've always been. They're America's team. So
they're still America's team?
Yeah.
That's not the Seattle Seahawks?
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's not the Cleveland Browns?
It's not.
Some
people might think it is.
What is more representative of America as a whole than a team like the Cleveland Browns? Honestly, they just can't get it off the ground. They're kind of okay with sexual misconduct.
Actually, they'll pay $250
million. It's a perfect snapshot of America.
Yeah, I don't know.
So for those of you who have the what football team is LeBron cheering for bingo card at home, you can change it.
Also, wasn't the whole national anthem thing years ago that he made him stand?
Oh, yeah.
And just
4 or 5 years ago,
now getting around to being like, hey, I don't like that.
Like I said, LeBron's busy. He's doing his own thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned around somebody. You guys heard about this Colin Kaepernick thing?
He's got a house party coming out, so he's got to worry about that. He's got to eventually win a basketball game.
Eventually. Have they won yet?
Nope.
Wow.
0-4 or 0-5, something like that.
At least the Sixers finally won.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, congratulations to him. Any chance he's getting divorced Maybe that's what the
No,
problem
I don't
is.
think so.
All right, well, the 0-4 Lakers are playing the Timberwolves in Minneapolis tonight, if you care about that. Let me give you some money here. It's $1,000. It's a chance for you to go fund yourself. 30 past every hour all day long. You get a crack at this money, so listen closely and good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword money at WMMS.com. That's money. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
All right, Alan Cumming is a very, very accomplished actor. You've seen him, no matter what you watch, you've seen him in something between network television and films and theater and books. And his latest book is called Baggage, and he's on Zoom. Alan, how are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
You know, for two guys named Alan, one whose last name is Cumming and the other one whose last name is Cox, we probably have a lot of stories we could tell each other about our childhoods.
Sure. That had already crossed my mind when I saw your name flashing up on the screen. Yeah.
And yet here we are.
Showbiz.
One of my co-hosts, Bill Squire, said that you had been briefly attached to something that he had in development when I mentioned you were going to be on the show.
What was that?
He was, I don't even know if it had a title, he was a Mormon missionary who had been stationed in the Philippines, and an animator had come to him about doing, well, an animated version of his stories. And when I mentioned your name, he goes, oh, I think he was attached to the Mormon cartoon thing I was talking about.
Yes, I remember this. Yes, and wasn't he famous for being the most sort of party kid Mormon?
He was. He was excommunicated from Latter-day Saints because of all of his proclivities there in the Philippines.
I loved that story. Yeah, that was hilarious.
How does something like that come to you?
Oh gosh, I can't remember how that came. I can't remember. Usually, it comes through your agents or stuff like that. But
sure.
Often people, friends of friends sort of say, oh, here's something. And so I can't remember the exact provenance of that idea. But yeah, I remember that. But I sort of think it's nice to get such a range of crazy things sent to you. And I love hearing about really varied stories. People's, it interests me in just the variety out there.
It has to be because you have done so many different things. I mean, my North Star when it comes to you is still Nightcrawler and X2.
Right.
Which I imagine that kind of, between you and Rebecca Romaine, that predated CGI makeup by quite a bit. So you were sitting there having practical makeup done every day, I assume.
Oh, God, yes. I actually write about this in the book. Rebecca and I would have lunch together and sort of cry. Sometimes we were so upset. We had to it took hours and hours and hours to get it on. And of course, hours to get it off. We had little trailers with showers in them. And we would just be in tears because of the scrubbing all the stuff off. And yeah, that was a lot. And I had these tattoos and everything on that were, I actually write about that in the book, the actual whole experience of doing the X-Men. It's quite a ride, that one.
Alan's book is called Baggage, Tales from a Fully Packed Life. It's in paperback now. And I was walking through our suite here, and we have huge monitors everywhere, and I saw you yesterday. It was on the Today Show, I think.
Oh, I was on that, yes. I did a few talk shows yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, and you always look so nattily dressed. You're like on a razor's edge, Alan. Every time I see you on one of those chat shows or something, you always look dynamite.
I love the razor's edge. What's going to happen? I'm going to fall off into fashion hell.
That's what I mean. You whatever you're doing, you look at it and you go, well, but that always works.
Good, thank you. I mean, I realize I have my own eclectic sense of style. Yes, definitely. I've been reminded. It's so funny. Sometimes there used to be, I don't know if they still do it, but there used to be that thing on the back of Us Weekly or one of those magazines. It was called The Fashion Police.
Yeah.
And it was always these people, and I was always in it. And sometimes I would come downstairs, or going out to an event, and my husband would just go, "Oh, fashion police potential." I was like, "I don't care." And I actually think in the last sort of decade, though, I think men dressing up has become less of a sort of taboo thing. I used to always find it really weird that you'd go to an awards ceremony like the Emmys or the Golden Globes or something that's supposed to be a celebration of creativity. And you would go, and if you didn't look the same as everybody else, you'd be sort of, pilloried for it. And I thought that was really telling that surely this is about creativity. So I think that's changed a bit. And, Yeah, I like dressing up, and I do have my own sense of style, and yeah, I just sort of put it all out there.
Well, it's obviously what
I
kind
had a
of
little bandana on yesterday. I enjoyed that. A little
yeah.
cravat.
I assume that's kind of just that whole mindset is what kind of informs your performance style and everything else. And it's interesting how, like you said, such creative endeavors can down the road end up so buttoned up for some reason. I guess it's because there's a degree to which you're trying to appeal to as many people as possible. Like your style, in whatever form it comes, can make you stand out.
I guess so. I just think I've just. I mean, I think it's probably unusual to be so open. And I think that's what it is. I'm open as a person. I feel I've said this before, but I feel very lucky in that the sort of public's image of me is actually really like the real me. And that is not true for the vast majority of famous people. I sort of think there's there's sort of people get who I am, and they get that I'm going to be open and
was that always the way for you? I mean, earlier in your career, was there a thing in your mind where you're like, well, maybe I have to conform to a certain thing? Or were you always, this is me, love it or lump it?
I still feel I'm not saying lump it. I'm sort of saying this is me, this is how I work best, and I'm not going to, I think it sort of goes down quite well, and also it's the best way for me to function. But earlier on, I mean, I kind of, I have grown and learned and become the person I am now, but earlier on, I was more, finding myself, and I think, yes, you are more. I do actually write about this a wee bit in the book, that you are asked to sort of become a type, and I think that wasn't really working for me. I didn't really like that, and I think in a funny sort of way, why I wanted to be an actor was to play lots of different people.
Sure.
I didn't want to be a type, so I think I've kind of persevered with that, and I am really lucky that I get such a variety of roles, and I think that's because I've just sort of not put myself in one box.
Well, and I think that it also speaks to your abilities too, where there are probably conversations where they say we need an Alan Cumming type. So it's like you become your own type after a while.
Some people have told me that. They've been in meetings and they say we need an Alan Cumming type. And I said, well, try Alan Cumming. Maybe he's available.
Yeah, maybe. Well, but you're in so many things. I saw you in Schmigadoon, and I see you anytime they televise some of these stage performances and things like that, that your range, literally and figuratively, is so broad that people probably assume, even if we could make his quote, he's probably not available.
Well, there is that. I'm kind of busy, but always open to offers.
Of course.
Yeah, I am actually. I kind of I've just done a film, a tiny little film. I played Sigmund Freud in this little independent film, and I was I was asked to do at the time. I was asked to do this big TV thing, and I said, "Oh, I can't let them down." I've agreed to this film and stuff like that. And I think it's sort of it's not. Well, for me anyway, I am busy all the time, but it's not. I don't always accept the biggest, shiniest, most
sure
thing. I do lots of. In the book I write about the Hollywood bank, where you make a deposit by doing something sort of high paying and mainstream, and then you can make a withdrawal to do a little like the film I've just done. And I think that's a really important thing for me to think about it like that, as a sort of a transactional thing. You've got to always, I am aware that you are a commodity and people want you to be in things because of what you bring, not just your talent, but how well known you are and things like that.
Well, that's your razor's edge I was referring to, as the art and the commerce. It's a high wire.
That's right. It's always like that. But I think it's important to, and then sometimes think, like I've just done, for example, this summer I've done a solo dance theatre piece about Robert Burns, the Scottish poet. I just thought I wanted to do one more big dancey thing.
Yeah.
And I that was definitely a withdrawal from the Hollywood bank, let me tell you. And so now I'm kind of just enjoying, well, I guess I've just done another withdrawal with this film, but I'm looking forward to just sort of, coasting a little, seeing people doing the odd little weird job and not really getting committed to anything until next year.
Alan Cumming's book is called Baggage. It's out in paperback. You even show up in my comfort food because there are so many new shows. It makes my head spin. So I found comfort in going back and watching old Frasier episodes, and you popped up in one of those that I was watching.
That's right.
And,
it was in the last season of Frasier. And they were like, you've got to be in it, and they've offered you a part. And I was like, all right. Yeah, I'm a yoga teacher.
Yeah, it was great. Listen, I'm a big fan. Fantastic work on everything you're doing. Keep dressing as well as you do. And Alan Cumming, the book is called Baggage. And I appreciate your time, man. Have a good one.
Thank you, Alan Cox. Very nice to talk to you.
Take care.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS and everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. The Buzzard cannot save you from the beating your savings and 401k are taking.
Higher prices.
Inflation.
The stock market.
All we can do is give you the chance to win enough money to spend on things to significantly reduce your lifespan. Go fund yourself.
Party, drink.
And win $1,000. Up to 13 chances a day every weekday. Get them keywords at 30 past the hour and enter them at WMMS.com.
Slow internet is nonsense. Your business needs Spectrum Business. Thousands of independent tests confirm Spectrum delivers the fastest internet speeds in the nation. That's right, Spectrum delivers the fastest internet speeds in the nation. Switch to Spectrum